What do you mean?
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 That's the name of the channel. What do you mean with an exclamation point and a question mark?
I've seen a number of right-wing commentators now basically wage war on the notion of retirement, as if there's something bad or wrong with wanting to spend your elderly years sort of relaxing and not being in the rat race of life and working 24/7. So here's Charlie Kirk. Credit to Media Matters for clipping this out here. And he's going to weigh in on this issue. Let's listen.
I will say there's a lot of lying around the Social Security or Medicare issue. A lot of lying, where it is used as a political football. Now, I will say that for future retirees, people under the age of 45, we should absolutely raise the retirement age. I'm going to say something very provocative. I'm not a fan of retirement.
Oh, come on, Charlie, come on. By the way, this comes right on the heels of him doing this thing about like, look, bro, people who get Social Security now, like, I get it, bro. I get it. We're not going to touch it for you. We're not going to touch it for you. Why does he do that? He does that because he knows that if Republicans were to touch that third rail, it's a wrap. Because Social Security and Medicare are the most popular government programs in the country. It's like over 70 or 80% approval. So if you come out and say, I'm against those, good luck to you in the next election. So he's smart enough to do the whole tap dance. Bro, I'm not going to touch it right now. I'm not going to touch it right now, bro. But then the truth comes out. But for the younger generation, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to touch it. And also, you heard that second part. I don't even like the idea of retirement. Well, I don't care what you do or don't like. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got to do with people who've worked their whole lives and are finally going to get some time to relax and soak it in and enjoy their family and watch the sunrise and whatever. So I'm against that. Okay, Charlie, by all means.
I mean, it's biblical. I think that if you retire, you should...
He's against retirement because it's not biblical? Jesus Christ.
Right, now that clip is from close to when I'm filming this, September the 20-something. And I have a knack for remembering when I've heard something similar and being able to go back through YouTube and find it. So now I've got another clip.
Listen to this. Americans who devote decades of their lives to toil should be able to retire in dignity and safety, period. I mean, I hate to point this out, but in the Hebrew language, there is no word for retire. Now, I believe that, you know, I don't know if I'm ever going to retire, but even if I did retire, it would just be to do something else. You know, you're never stopping working, and that doesn't mean that you have to toil in the same job that you've been in. However, what he says, a stronger labor movement with government backing could demand that large firms restore the older model of retirement based on defined benefits.
Yeah, defined benefits.
Wait, the older model? You mean the one before the government took over Social Security?
No.
You mean one where...
Oh, pause it. Incidentally,
took over.
The government did not take over Social Security. The government invented Social Security.
Yes.
I'm also looking in the Bible. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, this applies to the Levites, from 25 years old and upward, they shall come to do duty in the service of the tent of meeting. And from the age of 50 years, they shall withdraw from the duty of the service and serve no more. I mean, conceptually, it's, I don't know how that
translates into retirement, yeah.
But that sounds a lot like retirement to me.
Matt doesn't always like to bring that up.
I hate to bring up the Old Testament.
Republicans attacking your Social Security isn't anything new to hear. Roll the multiple examples.
Potentially sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Why would you propose something like that in an election year?
Sure. Well, John, that's, of course, the Democrat talking points. It's a
No, it's in the plan. It's in the plan.
We headed for a standoff where you and your colleagues are demanding of cuts, including Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
We did include in our negotiations a reversion to 2022 spending levels that would require changes in some of the mandatory spending, which of course is driven by Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security.
Defense spending has always been discretionary. So VA spending is discretionary. What's mandatory are things like Social Security and Medicare. If you qualify for the entitlement, you just get it no matter what the cost. And our problem in this country is that more than 70% of our federal budget, of our federal spending, is all mandatory spending. It's on automatic pilot. It never, you just don't do proper oversight. You don't get in there and fix the programs going bankrupt. It's just on automatic pilot. What we ought to be doing is we ought to turn everything into discretionary spending.
All the talk on Capitol Hill about we've got to cut domestic spending, we've got to cut discretionary spending. Men and women, 70% of what we spend at the national level is on entitlements.
Entitlements are going to consume the budget. Right now, we're at 2050, we're going to have 185% of debt to GDP. Medicare and Social Security and other entitlement programs are worth saving are going to consume the debt. We're down to a small fraction of the federal pie to run the discretionary part of government. So entitlement reform is a must for us to not become Greece.
I do think, though, that things like Medicare and Social Security, if you want them to function long-term and you want to balance budgets and have surpluses, that you are going to need means testing.
What about raising the age of retirement?
You know, that's interesting that you asked that question. People come up to me, they actually want to work on it.
Right now, we have people not working. As you know, this is a problem for the economy. It also is a problem for financing Social Security and Medicare, and we need to put work incentives in place. That alone will create billions of dollars in savings.
If we really want to talk about the debt and spending, it's the entitlements program.
You see what I mean? They've always been trying to do this, but the religion thing seems like a little bit of a new touch. And to think out loud, my theory on that would have to be, because it seems like they know they're not going to get any new support for their policies, what their agenda is. So perhaps the goal is to try not to lose their remaining support because they want to attack something that's insanely popular. And so maybe to go after Social Security and to get people on your side, the way you do that is to have the preachers yell at people about how they don't need Social Security. I bet you there's probably some preacher somewhere in America calling them like devil dollars or something. Yeah. Like, subscribe.